About a month ago, I went up to the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ. For those who don't know, that's the border between North and South Korea, and it's one of the most heavily guarded sites in the world, making the name a little bit ironic, but to be fair, both sides have most of their actual weaponry outside of the 2-kilometer zone on either side. It doesn't take long to get to the actual zone itself. It's only about an hour from Seoul. And really, once you get to the northern part of Seoul and going out of the city, you start to see the signs of a country that's still not entirely at peace. There's barbed wire, hundreds if not thousands of cameras, and military guard posts all along the Han River going north. This is because North Korea has sent spies downriver in the past, thanks to the Han River connecting to the Imjin River. The Han is fairly wide and can be considered shallow in many areas when the tide hits its lowest point. It's a super surreal moment. Not very long into the trip, you can actually see North Korea across the river if it's a clear day. The day I went was touch and go weather-wise, like the North wanted to do whatever it took to keep its secrets. Along a large chunk of the border, there aren't many trees to be found, on both sides, but mostly in North Korea. I saw entire mountains without trees on the northern side of the border. This is so any defectors would be able to be seen for literally miles. Another reason why it's so dangerous to attempt a border crossing. Soon after that, you cross the civilian line and enter the DMZ itself. The first stop on the trip was the Dora Observatory, where there are signs everywhere declaring end of separation, beginning of unification. At the observatory, you're on a hilltop overlooking the border valley. You can use the binoculars to look into the north itself, though like many hostile borders, there's not much to be seen. You also aren't allowed to film anything past a certain point, because the north has cameras too, and they can take almost anything as a sign of aggression, even a camera. The most you're going to see on a hazy day is a few kilometers in, no trees on the northern side of the border, and lots of guard posts and monitoring stations scattered on the northern hilltops. After Dora Observatory, we went to Dorasan Station, which is the last train station in South Korea, and also connects Seoul and Pyongyang. In fact, it's touted as not the last station from the south, but the first station toward the north. For a few years, there was one train per day with supplies that went 16 kilometers into North Korea, but the North closed the border in 2008, saying there were confrontational policies. This happened to coincide with the presidential election, and South Korea's changed to a more conservative policy as a result. More than anything else, the train station was the most emotional part of the trip. It is a constant reminder that people on both sides of this conflict do want the two countries to become one again. If only political ideology could be set aside. After lunch, we got on the bus to go to the joint security area, the place everybody knows about. We had to watch a security film, be briefed on proper behavior, and we were only allowed to bring in cameras. Then we were put on an army bus and taken up to the security point. You're only allowed to film and take pictures of certain things for international security reasons. I'm pretty sure there's propaganda of me by now flipping somebody off, not because I did it, but because the North is constantly photographing tourists and photoshopping them to their will. By the way, our army guide said that they call the binoculars guy Bob, and they think the only thing he does all day is take Instagram photos because literally nothing else is happening. I would follow the hell out of a North Korea Instagram. That'd be funny as shit. Vlogging in North Korea. Okay, we'll go back to South Korea. It's scary over here. There's a propaganda village just across the border. No one actually lives in the village, and as far as the army can tell, it's mostly set up like a movie set. But that flag you see, it weighs about 600 pounds, and it's on top of a flagpole that's over 500 feet tall, built after South Korea put up a 300-foot tall flagpole in Taesongdong. Draw your own conclusions. The entire experience was very sobering, but the strangest part was going from the heavily militarized north back to Seoul, a city made of lights and 21st century innovation. We walked along the Han River, the very river so fortified not 20 miles away, and there were families, cafes, huge high-definition televisions broadcasting the World Cup, and laser fountain shows off a bridge. The dichotomy is truly astounding, and it makes you wonder, if peace and reunification can be obtained, what will that Korea look like? Thanks for watching.